Hello and welcome to AEW.1, the AEW Women's Division blog. My name is Travis. You can reach more of our articles at AEW.1. You can hit me up on Twitter at AEW_1, spelled O-N-E, not the number one. And you can please subscribe to this YouTube channel. It helps us out with every subscriber we get. So I'm trying to resist the urge to put out contemporary pieces like this, where within a week it'll be out of date. But fuck it, this is just such a huge and fascinating match. A couple weeks ago I published an article and put out a video on here detailing the storytelling and booking of the Women's World Title program and how it looked to be leading up to a four-way match at All Out. And then Tony Khan threw me a curveball where he booked Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm one-on-one. Now, one of the curious things about even when this happened, I still didn't fully believe it, and Britt Baker was on that show when it was announced talking about how she was left off the All Out card and she had a match next week against Kylan King, and something just didn't pass the sniff test. But as it would turn out, Thunder Rosa threw us all a curveball when she announced that she was injured. And with that, there's an interim title on the line at All Out, and we're back to the four-way. I got my four-way. This isn't how I wanted it to go down, but nonetheless, it looks like a fantastic match. While we wish Thunder Rosa, La Mera Mera, a speedy recovery, thankfully AEW has someone like Hikaru Shida, who is a more than capable replacement to step into this match and do a great job at All Out. So with that said, let's look at the possible outcomes for who will walk out of All Out the interim AEW Women's World Champion. So this would seem like the most likely outcome, as it would set up a future unification match between her and Thunder Rosa down the road, at which point Tony Khan can continue whatever storyline he had planned for Thunder Rosa after All Out. Toni Storm feels like someone who has been ready for the rocket to be strapped to them for years now. It's really just as simple as putting a world title on her and letting her defend it often on TV. In fact, she could have an all-time AEW title run while being turned into one of the biggest stars in the company. Toni could be put in a number of short programs against the likes of Serena Deeb, Nyla Rose, Mercedes Martinez, Tay Mello, Anna Jay, AS, Penelope Ford, and Renee Shafir. And finally, if Thunder Rosa isn't ready by Full Gear, perhaps a longer-term program with Dr. Britt Baker. Toni Storm is my predicted winner of this match, but honestly, there's not a single outcome in this match that I don't like. Now, this seems to be a lot of fans' least favorite option. I think part of that is it's just more fun to see someone else win the world title for the first time. And for others, they just plain don't like the Good Doctor. But whether they want to admit it or not, Britt Baker is a tremendously effective heel who evidently has worked them. And she is the face of the AEW Women's Division. There's no one more deserving to be the first ever two-time world champ in my books. In contrast to a Toni Storm title reign, though, there aren't a lot of babyface opponents for Britt Baker to run through in programs that would feel fresh, unless, of course, a newly babyface Jamie Hayter were available. But besides Ruby Soho, who feels like she can't afford another loss to Britt Baker, Athena, the two babyfaces in this match, the current makeup of the roster doesn't feel like it's built for a heel title reign. Unless, of course, Thunder Rosa's injury isn't that bad to where a unification match could happen in short order, but Thunder Rosa's condition is anyone's guess. on AW.1's own women's roster, where we try to rank where women rate as far as if they're featured or if they're sort of in rotation, out rotation. We have a video on that, by the way, you can check out for more information. Shida, at the moment, now this is before the Go Home show, the Go Home Dynamite for All Out, we have her listed as active but not featured. Now, of course, she's going to boost right up to the top of active, featured in rotation, as she has a match on Dynamite. With Shida being in this program after not being on TV for a couple of months, she can't help but feel like a replacement player. So if she doesn't win, there'll be a resounding, well, you knew she wasn't going to win because she was at the last minute, from AEW fans. And yet, leading up to this match, we all know Tony Khan has his finger on the pulse. He could very well sense this. And it wouldn't be the most out-of-this-world audible for Hikaru Shida to be given the belt. It feels like she's due after keeping the women's division afloat during the pandemic, too. And like Toni, there's lots of heel opponents for Shida to face until a unification match against Thunder Rosa. Cards on the table, Shida winning would both shock and delight me, but I don't see it happening. Get to Jamie Hayter. This is the rub. For weeks, Britt Baker has been projecting her own deep-seated insecurities about her relationship with Jamie Hayter onto Thunderstorm. It'll be interesting on the Go Home Dynamite to see if they tease dissension between the two, or if they want us completely off the scent by having Baker and Hayter be a cohesive unit, while Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida find themselves at odds. In any case, I don't want to say strapping up Hayter would be premature, as her in-ring certainly warrants it, but I feel her character could use some building up after a breakup with Britt Baker before putting a title on her. I also don't mind putting even more time between the Wardlow MJF breakup and this one. But if Toni did decide to put the belt on Jamie, I don't have any doubt that they would be able to elevate her to the top of the card with time, but it's not as turnkey as it would be with Toni Storm. So what do you think? Who walks out of All Out with the interim title? Is it going to be Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida having the title again, or a new champion in Jamie Hayter or Toni Storm? You can comment down below or hit me up on Twitter at AW_1, or head to this article on AW.1 and comment there. Thanks for listening, and as always, let the women in your life know how much you appreciate them.